Hello, sweet parents. Welcome to the When Our Adult Children Walk Away podcast. My name is Dr. Janet Steinkamp, and during each episode of When Our Adult Children Walk Away, I will provide my professional and personal insights, information and opportunities for your self-reflection and growth, tips and tricks to make every day count, and encouragement to keep moving forward. I'm here to help you dig deep and get down to the root causes so that you can find your way out of the darkness to a positive and lasting relationship. Grab your notebook and a pen, settle into your favorite chair, and let's get to it. Now, as you probably are aware, the winter holidays are almost upon us. It's hard to believe. It seems like it was just the 4th of July. In today's episode, we are looking at the holidays from the perspective of both the parent and the adult child in the face of these upcoming holidays. The title of today's episode is Stillness, Space, and Grace. What we're talking about is about surviving the holidays with some self-compassion, giving ourselves some grace, finding some level of peace and meaning, even when our family table isn't complete, even in the face of heartbreaking loss and uncertainty. If at the end of this episode you found some value in what we've talked about, and you're ready to dig into your own circumstances, to find some calm and courage, I want to invite you to jump over to the When Our Adult Children Walk Away website, and you can schedule an appointment with me. There are two ways to schedule. One is a 15-minute phone call just to discuss your circumstances and how my services might be of help. The other is a 1-hour or 90-minute coaching session, and you're welcome to schedule that on the website as well. So let's dig into the topic today. Let's start by acknowledging that growth doesn't begin when silence ends. Our growth and readiness for reconnection cannot begin when the silence ends. It needs to begin during the silence, and that's what we're doing here today. This is where we find the understanding we need to learn and grow and understand from our adult child's perspective and move forward. Let's begin by looking at the emotional landscape of the holidays. The landscape of these holidays, and really any holiday, I call them high-risk days. There are several episodes you can go listen to specific to high-risk days. These high-risk days are littered with landmines, triggers, ways for us to get tripped up and spiral into the cycle of disbelief, anger, and despair. Regardless of where we're at in our work, in this estrangement and our self-reflection and growth, we can get triggered. We can go right back to square one. So let's look at why these holidays can do that. How does that happen? Well, holidays intensify grief because they are symbolic of connection. They are designed to reconnect, to spend time together, to celebrate together, to break bread together, to go to church or synagogue or wherever you worship, if you worship, together. The holidays are meant to bring people to fellowship. Estrangement is rooted in separation. And so this experience and really pressure to be together highlights, focuses a spotlight on our estrangement and our experience of grief and loss. Sometimes parents describe this part of the year, this season, to me as feeling invisible, like they don't belong. They don't know how they fit in. They don't know how to talk to people anymore. They don't know how to be with other people and not have their feelings of alienation intensified. And it's not just about loneliness, right? It's a mix of grief, of envy, of jealousy, of guilt, and of a lot of nostalgia, right? We pine for the good old days. And we're coming to understand that those good old days were not necessarily what we thought they were. They were for us. They were through our eyes. They were in the context of our experience in life. But our adult children begin to tell us that it wasn't so for them. And so now we're trying to reconcile all of that while this airplane of celebration is flying. You've heard the analogy, trying to fix the plane while it's in flight. So, knowing that the holidays highlight absence, I want to talk about that sense or blame or guilt that you may have that you're weak. And I want to assure you that the absence of your son or daughter does not mean that you're weak. Feeling the feelings you're feeling does not mean that you're weak. It may mean for you that you are uncertain, you've lost your equilibrium, you've lost your balance. And that's because the love that you have poured into this relationship remembers where it used to live. It remembers that bucket. It remembers that that love was flowing like a river toward your son or daughter. Now, they may say differently. They may say you were emotionally distant, that you were unavailable, that you were traumatizing them, all the things adult children tell us. At the end of the day, I want you to know you are not weak. And the love that you poured into them mattered, and it matters now, and things are changing, and we need to change with them. So let's talk about the adult child's perspective of these holidays. Now, this information comes from bales of research by Josh Coleman, Dr. Perlman, all variations and degrees of research, including or focused on our adult child and their peers, focused on the adult children who are choosing to estrange from their families. There have been some great studies coming out of some U.S. universities recently that you might want to look up. I can put those in the episode notes for you. So what the research tells us, or what our adult children tell us in the research, is that they also feel conflicted during this time of year. They also feel loss. There's also a spotlight on the absence of the traditions and the gatherings and the food and the music and all the aspects of our holidays. They tell us that they're torn between longing for their family and the need to protect themselves emotionally. They didn't leave without emotion. They didn't leave without hurt or anger or some sort of upheaval in themselves. So they are protecting themselves, perhaps, from having to run that gauntlet again to reestablish distance, or to see us at an event and have to navigate that event differently. They don't want to do that any more than we do. So oftentimes our adult children choose to be away. I have parents who also choose not to go to events and celebrations. Absolutely okay. In fact, that may be necessary in these early years of estrangement for you. Again, go listen to those episodes on managing and navigating high-risk days. I want to remind you that silence does not mean rejection. Over and over and over, our adult children tell us that they left in part because of us, in a greater part because there was something else going on in their life that they needed to address, that they needed to figure out. And we are also told that part of the reason they had to distance themselves was because they couldn't trust that we would keep our opinions to ourselves, that we would give them the space without having them make space or take space, that we would insert our opinions, advise, coach, prod, poke, push, gaslight. Often they tell us they needed to take space because they needed the quiet and the stillness to hear their own voice and make their own decisions. So again, silence does not mean rejection necessarily. It does mean that they may be acting in a way of self-preservation. When we can understand both sides of this, from the parent's perspective and our adult children's perspective, we can begin to be more compassionate. Doesn't mean we're forgiving or that we're done or that the things didn't happen that happened. It just means we can see where there's room for a little bit of compassion, that these holidays are difficult for all of us involved in the estrangement. We think of the stillness, I think of the stillness as a gift. I think the silence, the stillness, the quiet isn't the absence of activity, it's the presence of awareness. Many parents try to busy themselves out of their feelings at the holidays. They try to use the busyness of the season to avoid all the feelings that they're feeling, the realities, the grief, the differences that are going on for them. And the truth of the matter is we cannot busy ourselves out of estrangement. We cannot avoid our way out of estrangement. Sitting quietly with your emotions, naming them without judgment, transforms that chaos of the holiday season into calm, into stillness, into a space where we can become more aware of our own voice. We can move away from the opinions of other people and the bad advice people give us. And we can begin to listen to ourselves and quiet all that noise so we can hear our adult children differently. We can perhaps begin to hear them in the way they intended to be heard. May not be how they sounded, may not be based on the language that they used and the tone. Their message may have gotten disguised in all of that. The message might have been, I'm really hurting, you have hurt me in some way, and now I'm just so pissed about it because the pain is too much and you're not hearing me and acknowledging what's going on, so I'm just going to walk away. Right? That's often what we hear in retrospect. So I'm going to encourage you to use a couple of reflective statements. I want you to write these down or adapt them to whatever works for you. So here's the first one. What am I feeling right now? Sadness, longing, guilt, anger, relief? And then answer the question. Sit in silence, in the stillness, and answer the question, what are you feeling? Say it out loud. Say it out loud so you can hear the words. It's a very different thing to hear your own voice say the words out loud. Here's the second reflective prompt. What do these feelings need from me? Compassion or distraction? Do I need to allow myself time to feel those feelings and be kind to myself? Give myself grace. Forgive myself for the things I did not do well, the things I said in anger, the things I didn't say that I needed to have said, the opportunities I missed to hear and reach out and comfort or be strong, be an emotional anchor for our adult children. Whatever the circumstances are for you, give yourself some compassion. If you choose distraction, this exercise will come up again later, and you will have another opportunity. So if you're not ready to sit in that stillness and do it, distract away. Bake cookies, go shopping, set a plan for the family table. Whatever it is you do, and I'm not just talking to moms here, I'm talking to moms and dads. Are you working extra hours? Are you avoiding the house and going home? Are you avoiding being alone with the other parent? Because it hurts too much. Look at that, name it, say it out loud. I want to give you 3 points that I want you to think about considering the space as a powerful place for healing. So space is not abandonment. You are not abandoning them. You are not abandoning your friends. You're not abandoning the traditions or what you know to be true in your life. It's oxygen. This space gives you a place to breathe deeply. 3 deep breaths. Google that if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's a meditative experience, actually. Researchers tell us that taking 3 deep breaths and practicing that meditative practice is one of the most effective ways of lowering anxiety, lowering blood pressure, calming our rate of breath, and relaxing. The number one way of calming ourselves. 3 deep breaths. Google that. So the third point is that this space gives time to regulate your emotions, to learn new communication tools, and to rebuild trust, first in small ways, and then as you get more accomplished at what it feels like to build trust through behavior, through the spoken word, the written word, you can begin to rebuild trust in bigger ways. Trust is cumulative. Trust can be broken very quickly. Rebuilding trust takes time. So what your adult child might be saying about these things is that they build this emotional distance to avoid reactivating old pain, right? They've built this distance now. They've taken space. They've taken a timeout. They've put us in timeout, whatever language they used. And that space is become very important to them. It's very cherished. They need that to sort themselves and get themselves back on track. They may be working through personal stress, creating new boundaries, and trying to figure out where they sit with family expectations. It's not unusual for me to hear parents say that the child that estranged them was the child that they thought was least likely to estrange them, that was most bonded. And in many ways that makes sense, because our children that already have space from us, that already have some differentiation, they don't need to take a time out. It's the adult children who are connected to us at the hip that sometimes, often actually, don't know what else to do to build that space. They don't have the skills, they don't have the confidence, they don't know how to get permission from us, and in many cases, parents aren't going to give them that permission. They don't want them to be away from them. So they don't know what to do, and so they just fracture that relationship. Our adult children tell us that they may be taking space in a way that isn't about erasing you. It's about managing themselves and managing themselves with us in our expectations, in our dreams of their future, right? We dreamt, we raised these kids, we had a plan for them. But at some point, they get to decide the plan. And we have to step back and say, oh, okay, I guess we're going to do this other plan. My plan is off the table. And that is not an easy thing for us to do. And yet, they have the right to live their life just like we did. We have one life. They have one life. We all get one. And so finding a way to be together in a relationship that is based in boundaries, trust, respect, is critical to both parties developing and living their individual life in the way they find worthwhile, satisfying, the way they want to live their life to meet their own goals, to meet their dreams. So instead of talking about they're gone and lamenting that they're gone, that they've cut us off, that they've told us we're not worthy, even though we know we are worthy people, that is oftentimes what they say. Instead of saying they're gone, try saying they are growing and so am I. They've taken space to figure out their shit, and I'm going to take space and figure out mine. I apologize for the swearing. It is the vernacular of today, right? It's just become a mantra for the generation. My son is a potter. He makes beautiful pottery. He's now doing construction because he's called me one day, Mom, there are no wealthy potters. And he realized he wanted to do something else. But he makes these lovely coffee cups. And on the handle is stenciled, handle your shit. It's a lovely play on words. I use that cup every day. And I say it to myself, handle your shit. And again, I don't mean to be offensive to anyone or vulgar. It's a use of today's vernacular. So here are some practical strategies for holding space and holding it well. Don't pressure them for contact. Sending repeated invitations or emotional messages can and often does push them further away. It intensifies their sense of exposure. And remember, they're trying to take space and find stillness and quiet. So our ability to honor that, to respect that, is critical to their ability to find their way back. Send quiet goodwill instead. Write a card that says, thinking of you, wishing you peace. Not, I hope your life is fine. Know that I miss you. None of those parental messages that that ask for something, that ask for a response, that ask for information, that ask for them to think about us. We are simply saying, we're thinking of you and we're wishing you peace. Love, Mom. Love, Dad. Use this space for your own renewal. Focus on what you can rebuild in yourself and let go of what you cannot. We only can control ourselves. We can't convince them. We can't talk them into things. We can't bludger them into changing their minds. We can only honor our own beliefs and respect theirs in a way that respects them. And that's tough. That's a big ask in this day and age. Everybody's polarizing, it seems like. And I mean, even when I say that, everybody, it's so extreme. What we want to avoid is polarizing with our children. It's not worth the loss of our children to try to make them believe what we do in our politics, in our religion, in our position on gender identity, whether people get married or live together, how they spend their money. Write down the list. It's not worth requiring them to listen to our judgment and pressing them into changing to make us happy. First of all, it won't make us happy in the long run because they're going to build more space between us. So here's some more ways you can extend some grace. Let go of the guilt for feeling sad or angry or even a little bit relieved. Those emotions mean you care. Those emotions mean that you are aware of the loss. And remind yourself, I'm doing the best I can with what I have right now. And remind yourself, my adult child is doing the best they can with what they have right now. It's surprising because we thought they could do more or different or they would choose differently. But they right now, just like we, are doing the best they can with what they have in these circumstances. Assume good intent. Assume good intent. Your adult child may be overwhelmed or uncertain, not cruel. They may sound cruel. Their words may be painfully direct and hurtful. And at the end of the day, they may simply be trying with the tools they have to the best of their ability to build space to do whatever it is they need to do. Now, there's a lot of subtext here, right? Like if they come home for money, there are some strategies that I can share with you about how to manage money when they come home looking for money. When they need you to take care of the kids and that's it, you're just the hired help. There are strategies to navigate those things with your adult child. I'd be happy to share those with you. I want you to work on releasing the expectations of perfection of yourself and of them. We are human. All of us in this conversation are human. We have good days and bad days. We have poor attempts at communicating. We lash out at each other. We get into tit-for-tat fights. We say things that are so hurtful that we know we shouldn't have said. And we don't even know why we said them sometimes. Give yourself some grace and accept the fact that you are fallible. You are a human being, and so are they. The thing about grace is that it doesn't erase boundaries. It doesn't mean that they're going to come back. It means that you can let go of some of your hostility. Grace, gratitude, replace resentment and anger. It's very difficult to reflect and grow when you're sitting in anger and resentment. I'd say almost impossible. When you can find your way to grace and gratitude, not just of your adult child, but for anything in your life. You've got a car that works and you're not afraid it's going to break down every day when you turn it on to get to work. You have food on your table when so many people today have run out of money. They're not getting paychecks right now. TSA is working without a check. We have air traffic controllers not coming into work because they're not getting paid. That's a fair deal, right? But the rest of us depend on them, so that builds all kinds of room for guilt and hate and hostility and resentment and negative. Instead, I'm challenging you, asking you to sit in grace and gratitude. Release the expectations of imperfection and find the beauty in this holiday that still exists. And there is beauty. There is beauty in the natural world, in ourselves, in the people around us. We can see people doing kind things for other people. It's beautiful. Take note of it. Last section here is that I want to talk about some survival strategies for the lonely, painful holiday moments. This is a quick brush over. There, again, are specific episodes on these strategies. So I want you to prepare yourself, acknowledge, accept that there are going to be emotional triggers. There are. Call them out now. Make a list. What are the things that are likely to trigger you, make you angry, start the tears, put you into a downward spiral of depression and anxiety that you can't get off the sofa? Recognize what they're likely to be and work to move around them. Have strategies to respond when whatever it is that's going to trigger you begins to present itself. 3 deep breaths is a great one. Nobody even knows you're doing it. You might, oh my gosh, I forgot I have to make a phone call. I'll be back. And exit. There are all kinds of ways to extricate yourself from situations where you're going to be triggered. Refrain from traditions. Start new traditions. You know that one dish that comes to the table every year at Thanksgiving that nobody eats? Stop making it. Don't take it. Change the tradition. Ask the person who usually brings it to bring something else. We no longer have red cabbage on our table at any holiday. We had red cabbage on our table when I was a little girl religiously, and I don't remember anybody eating it. I remember it getting thrown in the trash. Somewhere along the line, it disappeared. I know when I started my own traditions with my nuclear family, I just didn't bring it with me. I left that red cabbage in my wake. Find the things in your holidays that are not serving you, that are not increasing the value of your experience, and let go of them. Come up with some new traditions. Light a candle every morning for 15 minutes and acknowledge your missing son or daughter. Sit with that. Send prayers, send good wishes, send white light. And then, at the end of 15 minutes, you can put that back in a box for the rest of the day and go be productive. Go move through your day and allow yourself to step away from all of the mess of the estrangement. Start a new tradition. So anchor yourself. Build emotional anchors. Identify 2 or 3 people that you know you can reach out to at any time, and they'll be glad to hear from you. You don't even have to talk about the estrangement. Just hearing their voice and having a conversation can be enough. I can call my mother on a bad day. She's 92. I can call her. We can talk about what they're having for dinner and who won the Rubik's Cube game that day. And I feel better when I hang up the phone. I don't have to tell her that before I called her I was in tears and could hardly breathe. Another strategy is to limit your exposure to comparison. Stay away from social media. If you want to find hostility and anger and resentment, despair and disbelief, I encourage you to go check out any Facebook group online related to estrangement. They are saturated with negativity. They are saturated with people trying to find their way through the estrangement, sitting in anger and resentment. Blame, shame, judgment. Stay away. It only makes what you're trying to do more difficult. You're not going to talk those people out of their choice. They are on a journey. You might, if you want, recommend this podcast. I'd be happy to talk to them. You have your own circumstances that you're working on, just as I did, and actually still do every day. To me, estrangement is similar to some kind of addiction. Even when you're in recovery, it doesn't ever go away. Estrangement changes us. I have lovely times with my daughter. We sit and laugh. We truly enjoy each other in a way we didn't before. But that doesn't mean that history doesn't exist. And I acknowledge that. She acknowledges that. We talk about it. Focus on meaning and not perfection. Focus on activities, not things. Some people set a chair and a place at the table for their missing adult child during the holiday times that they're breaking bread, and I can see the value in that. I can see the value in that. And depending on your beliefs and values, that may be exactly the thing for you to do. Other people choose to erase their child's face from the house. Every picture from the wall, everything. It's as if they don't exist. And for those people, that might work for them. You have to find your own way. So find meaning, not perfection, not what you should do, but what will work for you. Remember, you can't trick yourself out of this. You can't pretend it doesn't exist. You can take a break from it. You can't step away from it. You need to. We all do. It's important to. Holidays are about connection, not choreography. They're not about faking things. The holidays are about authentic, transparent values, priorities, what's important to you, who's important to you. And there are people and places important to you even without your adult child, even though you may not hear from them, and even though others may. Connection can mean a prayer. It can mean journaling. Write them a letter. Write them letter after letter. But don't send them. Not yet. Not when we're in the holiday frame of mind. It's a common thing for people to send long, heartfelt, sort of gut-wrenching confessions to their adult children during the holiday. And I'm here to tell you they very rarely result in anything positive. Write that letter. Write it to yourself. Write it to yourself. And send the card that says, thinking of you, I hope you're finding peace in the holidays. Or write the letter to yourself. Write the letter to yourself and write the card to your adult child that says, thinking of you, wishing you peace. Love, Mom. Love, Dad. Love, Mom and Dad. It doesn't matter if you're a bonus parent, only parent. Send the card. Know that you reached out. Leave the emotional aspect of all of this out of it for now. For now. And use this space for your renewal. Remember, the stillness can soften the pain, surprisingly. It brings calm to the chaos. The space allows you to find perspective again and ground yourself. And grace turns grief into growth. Grace gives you space to be okay with yourself and know there are things you want to do differently, better, more of, less of. So I need to wrap this up now. I want to make a few just key points here. Remember that the holidays highlight both love and loss. Both love and loss. You are not alone in your loss. Many people are not talking about their loss. You sit in a room with human beings who also have chaos in their lives. Stillness helps you hear your heart again. You hear your voice. You can go back to what you believe, what you want, what you hope for, and what you don't want. Space can be healing for both you and your adult child. Creating and honoring that space is not giving up. It is not weak. It is not saying you take responsibility for all of it. It's simply respecting the request for space. Grace transforms bitterness into peace, peace with yourself, peace with others. You can come to peace with the circumstances, the state of the world. Grace transforms bitterness and anger into peace and joy. You can experience meaning and beauty even in the middle of estrangement. Your story is not over. Your story is not over. Your story is not what you expected. You're brave to show up. It takes courage to come listen to this podcast. It takes personal strength to decide to look at things a little differently, take a different perspective. Hear somebody else's opinion and journey. The story is not over. It's unfinished. So how do you want to be ready to move forward? When the opportunities present, and they will, I don't know when, I don't know how, they will. How will you be ready? How will you show up to those opportunities? You and I both know we can't control who comes home for the holidays. We can't control how they celebrate, what they say, who they spend time with. But we can control the peace that we invite into our homes and into our hearts, into our heads, and into our daily being. I want to thank you for joining me today to talk about the theme of being peaceful, hopeful, and finding a way to navigate these holidays in a way that allows us self-respect and grace. If this conversation was helpful to you, I want to encourage you to share it with someone else who might be walking through this same season with the same feelings, some degree of estrangement. None of us have the same circumstances. Estrangement has very similar themes for all of us. The grief cycle is real. Remember, every step toward understanding is a step toward healing and readiness. I hope you'll join me for another podcast in the future. And again, jump over to When Our Adult Children Walk Away. The website has ways to schedule with me. You can email me at janet@jesteinkamp.com. It does take me a few days to respond to people. I respond myself, and these days are very, very busy. So, if you've not heard from me in a few days, please send a reminder. Please send another email so it goes to the top of my pile of email so that you don't get lost in the tsunami of messages. I am here to help you in ways that you might find important and necessary. I am here to help you in any way I can. Please don't sit in your estrangement alone and isolated. Remember to be brave. It takes courage to move forward and show up. And remember, you're not alone.